Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into one of Reddit's most explosive corners, relationship drama. These aren't just quick arguments or little misunderstandings. These are full-blown sagas of lies, secrets, and heartbreak that will have you questioning how people keep their cool in these situations. From shocking betrayals to love stories that take unbelievable turns, these are the kinds of posts you read once and never forget. So grab a drink, settle in, and get ready for a wild ride through some of the internet's most jaw-dropping relationship stories. Let's get started with our first story, and this one could honestly be straight out of a movie. It's titled, "My Fiancé Vanished the Night Before Our Wedding, and the Reason Why Left Me Speechless." I never thought I'd be one of those people posting on Reddit for advice, but here I am. I, 28F, was supposed to get married last summer to my fiancé, Alex, 30M. We'd been together for 6 years, and for most of that time, he had been the definition of supportive, kind, and dependable. We met in college, built our lives together, and I truly thought we were a team. The wedding planning was stressful, like most weddings, but nothing out of the ordinary. Families squabbling over the guest list, money getting tighter than expected, and the usual debates about flowers and playlists. Through it all, Alex seemed calm and steady. He'd reassure me that no matter how chaotic things got, he couldn't wait to marry me. The night before the wedding, we held a small rehearsal dinner at my parents' house. Everything felt fine. Alex kissed me goodnight, said he'd see me tomorrow at the altar, and went back to the apartment we shared. I went to bed that night, completely sure that the next day would be the happiest of my life. But when I woke up the next morning, something was off. I had a missed call from Alex's best man at 6 a.m. My stomach dropped before I even listened to the voicemail. It said, "Hey, have you heard from Alex? He's not at his apartment, and none of us can reach him." Panic set in. I called his phone over and over, straight to voicemail. His car wasn't at our place. He wasn't at his parents'. He had seemingly disappeared. By 10 a.m, guests were already arriving at the venue, and I was still in my pajamas pacing the kitchen floor with my bridesmaids trying to calm me down. Finally, around noon, his sister walked in with this haunted look on her face. She handed me a crumpled note Alex had left at their parents' house. It said in shaky handwriting, "I'm sorry. I can't go through with this. Please don't try to find me." That was it. No explanation, no phone call, no conversation, just gone. The humiliation of telling a room full of guests that the wedding was off was bad enough, but the confusion was worse. I felt like I'd lost the person I knew best in the world overnight. For weeks, I couldn't sleep. My mind cycled through every possibility. Was there someone else? Did he secretly hate me? Was he scared of commitment? 3 weeks later, I finally got an answer. Alex's mother reached out saying he had checked into a mental health clinic out of state. He had been battling severe depression and anxiety for years, but had hidden it from everyone, even me. The stress of the wedding, the expectations, the pressure, it broke him. Instead of asking for help, he ran. I was devastated, but I was also torn. On one hand, I wanted to be angry. He left me standing at the altar with no warning. On the other hand, how could I hate someone for having a breakdown they didn't know how to handle? We've since spoken once. He apologized through tears, said he still loved me, but admitted he wasn't ready to be anyone's husband. Not until he figured himself out. It's been almost a year, and I still don't know how to feel. Part of me wants to move on and find someone who won't abandon me. Another part of me still loves Alex and wishes he'd been honest before it came to this. This story stuck with me because it shows how even the people you think you know best can be carrying battles you don't see. Sometimes it's not about love at all, it's about survival. Moving on, here's another one that completely flips the script on trust in a relationship. It's titled, "I discovered my wife has been hiding a secret bank account for years, and what she was using it for shocked me." I've been married to my wife Rachel for 11 years. We met young, fell hard, and built a life together from scratch. We've always considered ourselves a team. Our finances were joint, Our decisions were joint, and I thought there were no secrets between us. That's why what I found out recently has shaken me to my core. A few months ago, I noticed some weird irregularities when I was checking through our taxes. There was a small amount of interest income that didn't match anything in our accounts. At first, I thought it was just a clerical error, but when I asked Rachel about it, she brushed it off quickly. Too quickly. She said it must have been something old from years back. It nagged at me, so I did some digging, and that's when I discovered it. A bank account, under her name only, opened 6 years ago. It wasn't enormous, but it had over $40,000 in it. Money I had no idea existed. When I confronted her, I expected some kind of explanation about saving for a surprise, maybe even a backup fund for emergencies. Instead, she went pale and sat down. She admitted that she had been secretly siphoning small amounts of money from our joint account every month and stashing it away. At first, I thought the worst. Was she planning to leave me? Was she hiding debt? But then she told me the truth. Her younger brother has struggled with addiction for years. He'd been in and out of rehab, always swearing he'd get clean, always falling back. Without telling me, Rachel had been paying for his treatments, his rent when he got evicted, even his food. The secret account was essentially her lifeline to keep bailing him out without me noticing. She said she hadn't told me because she knew I wouldn't approve. And she was right, I wouldn't have. We had already had countless fights over how much support we should give him, and I thought we had set firm boundaries years ago. Apparently, she never stopped. She just hid it from me instead. I sat there in shock, not even sure what I was more upset about, the money, the lies, or the fact that she couldn't trust me enough to have an honest conversation. She cried and begged me to understand that she did it out of love for her brother, not out of malice toward me. But all I could think about was how our entire foundation, trust, openness, partnership, had a giant crack in it I hadn't seen before. We've started counselling since then, but things are different now. Every time she swears she's being honest, I wonder if there's something else she's hiding. And every time I look at her brother, I can't help but resent him. Not only for draining her, but for eroding the trust in my marriage. Stories like this prove that betrayal doesn't always look like an affair or dramatic cheating. Sometimes it's quieter, a hidden account, a family secret, a pattern of lies told for the greater good. But the damage can be just as devastating. Now let's shift gears to a story that shows how quickly a seemingly stable relationship can unravel when secrets surface. This one's titled, "My boyfriend had a second phone I wasn't supposed to find, and what was on it ended our relationship." I'd been with my boyfriend Daniel for just over 3 years. Things had been going well, or so I thought. We'd moved in together about a year ago, talked casually about the future, and shared bills, chores, and a quiet little apartment. There were no huge red flags, no screaming matches, nothing that screamed, "This relationship is doomed." Then one Saturday morning, while tidying up, I found something wedged between the couch cushions. It was a phone, not his regular one. I knew the case and model of that one. This was older, plain, and clearly not in use. Or so I thought. Curiosity got the better of me. When I powered it on, I expected maybe an old phone he forgot to trade in. Instead, it unlocked without a password, straight into a barrage of notifications. Messages, dozens of them, different women's names, conversations stretching back months, even years. My stomach dropped as I started reading. Daniel had been living a double life. This phone was basically his secret vault for dating apps, hookups, and flirty conversations. There were explicit photos, hotel meetups, even saved notes with details about what he'd told different women so he wouldn't get his stories mixed up. I froze. My hands were shaking so badly, I almost dropped the phone. Daniel I knew, the one who made me breakfast, who joked about marriage, who held my hand through family dramas, was also the Daniel coordinating midnight meetups with strangers and writing "Can't wait to see you again" messages to women I'd never met. I confronted him that night. He came home and I placed the phone on the table. His face drained of colour instantly. He didn't even try to deny it. He just slumped into a chair and muttered, "I was hoping you'd never find that." What followed was hours of half explanations and excuses. He said he loved me, that those other relationships didn't mean anything, that it was just a way to escape. He claimed he never wanted to hurt me. But how do you hear that when the proof is sitting right there in your hands? I packed a bag that night and left. The betrayal wasn't just about the cheating, it was the scale of it. The sheer organisation, the lies, the way he built an entire parallel identity while sitting next to me on the couch. It wasn't a one-time mistake, it was years of calculated deception. Looking back, I realise how easy it is to miss the warning signs when you trust someone completely. He didn't act distant, he didn't hide his main phone. He laughed with me, loved with me, and still found time to manage this hidden world. That's what cut the deepest. Not just that he cheated, but that he was so good at pretending he hadn't. For the next one, let's talk about a story that starts out almost comical, but the longer it goes on, the more painful it becomes. It's titled, "My Girlfriend Pretended to be Pregnant to Test My Loyalty, and I Don't Know If I Can Ever Forgive Her." I, 27M, have been dating my girlfriend, Leah, 25F, for about a year and a half. Things were good, really good. She was funny, affectionate, and seemed genuinely interested in building a future with me. I thought I'd finally found someone I could be serious with. Then out of nowhere, she dropped a bombshell one evening. She told me she was pregnant. I was shocked, obviously. We hadn't been trying, and while we weren't always as careful as we should have been, I still wasn't expecting that. My head spun with 1,000 thoughts. How would we afford it? Where would we live? What would our families think? But after the panic, I took her hand and told her I'd support her no matter what. If she wanted to keep it, I'd be there. If she didn't, I'd still stand by her. For the next 2 weeks, we had constant conversations about names, finances, parenting styles. She even pretended to have morning sickness, skipping meals or running to the bathroom. I rearranged my work schedule to be home more, started researching bigger apartments, and even told my parents, who after the shock wore off, were surprisingly supportive. Then came the punch to the gut. One night, she sat me down and confessed she wasn't pregnant. She never had been. It was all a test. She wanted to see if I'd stick around if things got hard or if I'd panic and run. At first, I thought she was joking. Who would fake something like that? But she looked me dead in the eyes and said she'd been worried I wasn't serious about her, so she staged the entire thing to prove my loyalty. She actually seemed proud of herself, like she had uncovered the truth about me. I didn't yell, I didn't curse, I just sat there, numb. The level of manipulation was staggering. It wasn't just a lie, it was how far she took it. She let me grieve the loss of freedom, plan for a child, break the news to my family, and rearrange my life. All of that for a test. When I told her how cruel and unfair it was, she got defensive. She said, "But now you know you're a good man, because you stayed." That's what I needed to see, as if her experiments somehow justified the devastation she caused. Since then, I can't look at her the same. Every time she says, "I love you," I wonder if it's just another test. Every time she cries, I wonder if it's real or staged. That trust, the foundation you can't rebuild once it's gone, was shattered. I haven't broken up with her yet, but I know it's coming. Because once you've seen someone is willing to fake something that massive, you'll never truly believe anything they say again. Let's move on to another situation that shows how betrayal can come from the last place you expect. This one's titled, "I Caught My Husband Secretly Messaging My Best Friend," and the worst part was her response. I, 32F, have been married to my husband James, 34M, for 5 years. We've had our ups and downs, but overall, I thought we were solid. My best friend Claire has been in my life since high school. She was even my maid of honor at our wedding. I trusted both of them completely. About 3 months ago, I noticed James was glued to his phone more than usual. He'd angle it away from me, close apps quickly, and once even took it into the shower. My gut told me something was off. One night, after he fell asleep, I checked his phone. I hate snooping, but something inside me knew I had to. And there it was, messages with Claire. Hundreds of them. It wasn't overtly romantic at first, but it was intimate. Inside jokes they hadn't shared with me. Late-night venting sessions. Compliments about how understanding and beautiful she was. Then it escalated. Flirty emojis. Her telling him he should come over sometime. Him saying he couldn't stop thinking about her. My heart sank. These were the two people I trusted most in the world. I confronted James the next morning. He swore nothing physical had happened, that it was just talking. He said he'd been feeling neglected because I'd been working long hours and that Claire had been a shoulder to lean on. I then confronted Claire. Her response, she shrugged. She said, "Well, if you're not giving him what he wants, needs, what did you expect? Men get bored." That broke me more than the messages. This was my best friend, the person I had shared every secret with, leaned on during hard times, and trusted like family. And she didn't even seem sorry. I cut Claire out of my life immediately. James and I are in counselling now, but I don't know if I'll ever fully trust him again. It's one thing to have your partner betray you. It's another when your so-called best friend joins in. This story hits hard because it's betrayal on two fronts. Losing trust in a partner is devastating, but losing your best friend at the same time cuts twice as deep. It's a reminder that sometimes the real heartbreak isn't just what people do, it's who does it to you. Now here's one that shows how deception can drag on for years before the truth finally comes crashing down. It's titled, "After 8 years together, I discovered my partner had a whole other family." I, 36F, had been with my partner, Michael, 39M, for nearly a decade. We lived together, shared bills, and even bought a house 2 years ago. While marriage wasn't something we rushed into, we always talked about it being in the cards someday. From the outside, we looked like a stable, long-term couple who had built a life together. Michael travelled often for work. Consulting gigs, he said. Sometimes he'd be gone for a week or two, usually on the East Coast. I never doubted it. The invoices, the business cards, the occasional company swag all seemed legit. I missed him while he was gone, but I trusted him. Then one night, I got a message on Facebook from a woman I didn't know. She sent a simple but chilling note. "I think we need to talk about Michael." At first I thought it was some kind of scam, but when I clicked into her profile, my heart froze. There she was, smiling in picture after picture, standing next to Michael. They were at cookouts, family vacations, even holiday dinners. In one photo, he was holding a little girl, about 4 years old, with his eyes and his smile. The caption said, "Daddy-daughter day." I felt my world crumble in seconds. I confronted him the moment he got home from his so-called work trip. At first, he denied everything. Then, when I showed him the photos, his face just collapsed. He confessed he had another family. He'd been with her for nearly 6 years, and the little girl was his daughter. He said he never meant for it to go this far. He claimed he loved me, but also couldn't walk away from them. He insisted he had been trying to figure out a way to choose, but couldn't bring himself to. For years, he had been living a double life, juggling holidays, birthdays, and trips between us. I kicked him out that night. I haven't seen him since, except through lawyers. The betrayal is so deep that I can't even fully process it yet. It's not just the lies, it's the years of memories that now feel fake. The sense that my entire adult life was built on an illusion. What gets me most is how effortlessly he played both roles. The devoted partner with me and the doting father with her. I still don't know which version of him was real, or if either one was. Sometimes, the worst heartbreak isn't when love ends. It's when you realise the love you thought you had never truly existed in the first place. Our next story digs into a situation where trust was broken in a quieter but no less devastating way. It's titled, "I found out my girlfriend was lying about her job for our entire relationship." I, 29M, dated my girlfriend, Sophie, 27F, for nearly 3 years. From the start, she told me she was an interior designer. She talked about clients, projects, even the stress of deadlines. It seemed believable. She had an eye for aesthetics, and she always dressed with a flair that fit the part. Every morning, she'd leave the apartment with her laptop bag, kiss me goodbye, and say she was heading to meet clients. Sometimes she'd call me midday to say she was stuck in traffic coming back from a project. Other times, she'd show me Pinterest boards of designs she claimed she'd been working on. I had no reason to doubt her. Then one evening, I bumped into an old college friend while grabbing coffee. We caught up, and when I mentioned Sophie and her interior design business, he looked confused. Sophie? I work at the same place as her. She's not a designer. She's a receptionist at a dental clinic. I laughed at first, thinking he was mistaken. But later that night, when Sophie got home, I casually asked how work had been. She launched into a story about a client with impossible taste in furniture. My stomach churned because I suddenly knew. The next day, I drove past the address my friend had given me. There was Sophie, standing behind the front desk at the dental clinic, in scrubs. She wasn't carrying a laptop bag, no clients, just checking patients in and answering phones. When I confronted her, she broke down. She admitted she had lied from the very beginning. She said she was embarrassed by her job, that she thought I wouldn't take her seriously if she told me the truth. She wanted me to see her as ambitious, creative, and impressive. She figured once she got her life together, she'd eventually confess. But 3 years went by, and the lie just grew. I wasn't angry that she worked at a dental clinic. I was angry that she had built our relationship on a false identity. Every story she told me, every project she claimed to be working on, was fabricated. It wasn't about the job, it was about trust. We ended things a week later, not because of where she worked, but because I realized if she could lie so easily about something that big for so long, how could I ever trust her about anything else? Sometimes the deal breaker isn't the job someone has or the life they lead, it's the mask they choose to wear and how long they let you believe it's real. To close out this set, here's one that starts out with excitement and ends with heartbreak. It's titled, I discovered my fiancé was already married, and I only found out by accident. I, 31F, had been engaged to my fiancé, Ryan, 35M, for almost a year. We met through mutual friends, hit it off instantly, and within a few months we were inseparable. He was charming, thoughtful, and seemed completely invested in building a future with me. He even asked my parents for their blessing before proposing, which made me think he was serious about tradition and commitment. The wedding planning was in full swing. We had a venue, save the dates mailed, and deposits down. Everything was on track for what was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. Then one afternoon, while finalizing paperwork for our marriage license, I noticed something strange. The clerk handed me a form to fill out, and when she looked over Ryan's details, she froze for a second. She politely excused herself, left the desk, and came back with her supervisor. After a few awkward moments, they pulled Ryan aside. When he returned, he looked pale, almost sick. I asked what was wrong, and he said we'd talk later. My heart was racing as we walked out of the office. Finally, in the car, he admitted it. He was already married. He claimed it was complicated, that he and his wife had been separated for years but never finalized the divorce. According to him, it wasn't a big deal because they were basically over. But the truth was, on paper, he was still very much married and had been hiding it from me the entire time. The worst part, his wife didn't even live across the country. She lived one town over, and when I reached out to her, she had no idea he was engaged to someone else. They weren't separated in the way he described. They were still living together part-time, trying to work things out. I called off the wedding immediately. Deposits lost, family embarrassed, future shattered. He begged me to forgive him, saying he only kept it a secret because he didn't want to lose me. But how could I marry someone who lied about the most fundamental thing, that he was even free to marry in the first place? It's been 6 months since then, and while I'm healing, I still feel the sting of betrayal. He didn't just lie to me. He let me build dreams on a foundation that never existed. Some betrayals are about broken promises. Others, like this one, are about discovering the life you thought you were building was never even possible to begin with. And that brings us to the end of today's dive into relationship drama. These stories remind us that love can be messy, complicated, and sometimes built on secrets we never see coming. From hidden families and double lives to manipulative tests and long-held lies, it's clear that trust is the foundation of every relationship. And once it's broken, rebuilding it isn't always possible. If you made it this far, thanks for sticking with me through these emotional roller coasters. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you ever seen a situation like these play out in real life? Drop a comment below and let's talk about it. And of course, if you enjoyed today's stories, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next deep dive into the wildest corners of Reddit. Until next time, take care and maybe double check that phone bill.